Hey everyone. So hope everyone had a good Memorial Day and you're back to work or getting back into the swing of things. We had a nice weekend, had some time off. I was able to get a haircut. Yes, I did pay for this, so no comments about the hair. But today I have a few numbers I wanted to go over with you as far as here in Florida, what we're dealing with, and actually what's happening here in Pinellas County. We're still getting a lot of people who are saying things to us and asking questions about healthy people that are getting sick and healthy people that are dying, and perfectly normal and perfectly healthy young people dying, and again, the fear of the whole coronavirus is that you're going to get the coronavirus and then you're going to die. Let me reiterate what we've been saying all along. We don't want anybody to die. We don't want to trivialize death. If anybody dies, it's a sad thing, and we're not taking that lightly. So once again, we want to just emphasize the point that 99% of the people that get the coronavirus, 99% of the people are healing up without any medical attention, without any hospitalization. They're doing perfectly fine. It's that 1%, the sickest of the sick, that are needing the hospital care, and maybe they're in a small portion or in critical care, and they're the ones that are in pretty rough shape. So we have some numbers here I just want to go over just to kind of reinforce what we've been saying all along, that this virus spreads like any other virus, like a cold virus, like a flu virus. You don't get it by breathing air, by touching it. You have to put it into your nasal passages or into your mouth. It has to get inside your body. It has to attach to live cells inside of your body. The warm, moist environment, those living cells, that's how it spreads and multiplies and thrives in your body. But again, what we've been saying all along is that your immune system is fighting that off on a regular basis. So the chances are, if you're an average individual, if you do get exposed to this virus, your body's going to build antibodies against it, and you may not ever know you have any symptoms, and you'll be fine. So there was some data that was released, and actually my brother sent me this information to look at, and this was on May 6th, data for Pinellas County that I looked at. So at the time, there were 1,486 deaths statewide in the state of Florida. Now, our particular county, Pinellas County, we have a very large elderly population. I don't know what the average age is of Pinellas County, but I guarantee you it's up there pretty high. It's a retirement area. There's a lot of elderly people. So in Pinellas County, there were about 1,000, just over 1,000 cases of reported positive tests of coronavirus. At the time of May 6th, when this data was published, there were 42 deaths. 42 deaths. The ages of the deaths were 52 was the youngest, 102 was the oldest. So overall, there was 18 of these people who were over 90 years old, and one was 102, of course. So the average age of death was 86. So again, you can see what we're dealing with, and this is true pretty much for the whole country, and even throughout the world, what we're seeing with this virus, that it's going after the elderly very strong for a few in particular reasons. So what we want to look at is the demographics, the data as far as specifically who it's attacking, why come up with some reasons of why it's attacking those individuals. So you can see, as far as the races go, 41 of the 42 were white. One was Asian, none were black. So again, this is in our community. We do have black people in our community, so but for these specific data here, there were no blacks that have died in Pinellas County at this time. Comorbidities, and this is what's important to understand, the underlying illnesses or the underlying sicknesses of these individuals. Comorbidities. So we looked at all the cases, all 42 cases, and we saw that there were 26 cases of hypertension or high blood pressure. There were 25 cases of some type of underlying heart disease, whether it was a valve problem, a arrhythmia problem, some type of heart failure, congestive heart failure, so forth and so on. So I have these in red to show that those were the most prominent comorbidities. It seemed to be the heart issues were the most prominent comorbidities. So diabetes, there were 10 cases of diabetes, 7 cases of cancer, COPD, which is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, some type of emphysema, some type of lung cancer, some type of tumor, something that's taking up space in the airways of the lungs. There were 5 cases of that. Asthma, there were only 2 cases of asthma. Obesity, 2 cases, and flu, there was 1 case of flu that was also reported. So you can see out of all the comorbidities, the most common ones were hypertension and heart disease. So again, we looked at these and we found that the majority of these people that died had 2 or more of the comorbidities. 32 people out of the 42 had 2 or more of these comorbidities. So there seems to be a link there. There seems to be a link with people that have these underlying heart problems. It doesn't seem to be so much the diabetes. It doesn't seem to be so much the asthma, the breathing problems. It seems to be more of the heart. The virus puts a strain on the heart and causes weakness of an already compromised heart. So when you look down here, nursing home or long-term care facility residents, 24, just over half of these individuals were residents in nursing homes. So again, not already in good health, so they were weakened and compromised. When you look at some of the countries around the world, like I look at Japan, for instance, Japan has one of the lowest rates of heart disease in the world. High blood pressure, heart disease, almost non-existent in Japan, probably from their diet, from their lifestyle. But we looked at coronavirus cases in Japan. There were 15,000, 18,000 cases when I looked for the whole country. And then they had less than 1,000 deaths. And they have one of the oldest average populations in the world. So they have a lot of elderly people. But again, when you look at the correlation here, people with hypertension, heart disease seem to be most vulnerable. And when you look at a country like Japan, where there's very little heart disease, and they had less than 1,000 deaths for the whole country, and they put nothing on lockdown. They didn't lock down the country at all. They kept going about their regular business. They have a very strong economy, very wealthy economy, about 130 million people, about a third the size of the U.S., but a much smaller island. So they're really on top of each other. They do wear masks to help slow down the spread of any viruses or illnesses, and they practice a little bit of social distancing. They don't hug each other, so forth and so on. They keep their distance like that, but they went about their daily business. They went on and didn't lock the country down, didn't hurt their economy. And when you look at the chart of their pattern of how the virus came and pretty much is gone, you see that pyramid pattern where it comes, it ramps up, the cases ramped up quick, and they dropped off quick. So again, it shows you that you can let the virus take its course, limit exposure. You don't have to put everything on lockdown, and you can still survive. I've been saying the same thing all along. The virus hasn't exposed anything in our country except the fact that we are not a healthy country, overall. We have one of the highest rates of heart disease and highest rates of high blood pressure and cancer and strokes and diabetes and obesity, all the things that are possible comorbidities. Again, When you look at this, what's happening here in Pinellas County, now you extrapolate that out to a larger scale and see how it's affecting people in other places. But when you see things, exclamatory headlines that say, perfectly healthy 25-year-old died from coronavirus, I would question that, because the data doesn't really say that. There might be that individual that you thought was healthy and then they died, but we all hear about the person who goes in for their yearly physical, passes with flying colors. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you, you're strong as an ox. 2 weeks later, they dropped dead of a heart attack. Were they healthy? They appeared to be healthy, but they weren't really healthy. There was some type of underlying problem there. It just hadn't gotten caught. Here in Florida, these kids during preseason football here, they go out in this 100-degree heat and humidity, and every once in a while, a 16-year-old kid, has a heart attack and dies. It's very traumatic and very sad, but they always find some underlying heart condition that wasn't found and was missed. So the bottom line is we have enough data now. We've seen enough of how this virus acts. We know the things aren't true, that it's, it's so much more infectious, it's so much stronger than it. No, it's not. It spreads like any other virus. If you get it on your hand, you have to transport it into your nasal passages. The fact that your hands are clean doesn't make a difference. If it gets on your hand and you pick your nose, or you stick your finger up your nose, or pick your teeth, or stick your hand in your mouth, you're risking putting that virus into your body, and there's a possibility, if you have a suppressed or compromised immune system, that your body's going to have a harder time fighting it off. But for the most part, keep that immune system strong, like we've been teaching all along, and you'll be fine. Again, we highly recommend what I call the ACE vitamins, A, C, and E. Vitamin D is another one. You see some studies about, vitamin D is these people that are suffering have lower levels of vitamin D, and the science shows that there are vitamin D receptors in your respiratory tract, and those vitamin D receptors take the vitamin D and transport it into the nucleus of the cells, the brain of your cells, if you will, and keeps those cells healthy, and then those cells can organize chemicals and release chemicals that actually puncture the walls and the membranes of viruses and bacteria to keep your body healthy in the respiratory tract. So vitamin D is important, so that sunlight is important, or a liquid, supplement of vitamin D. Again, the ACE vitamins, A, C, E, D, those are really important as far as boosting your immune system, keeping that strong. So I just wanted to go over this information with you real briefly. Haven't talked to you in a few days, so hopefully everybody's doing well, and we're on our way out of this, and things will be pretty much getting back to normal. All right, we appreciate your questions. Keep sending your questions. Keep sending your concerns in, and we'll try to address as many as we can. I love getting your questions and being able to provide information. Most of the information, pretty much all of it, I try to be as scientific as possible. I'm not giving my opinion. I'm giving the science that's based upon that. Trust me, you don't want to know my opinion, because my opinion wouldn't be very popular. So, but as far as the information that I'm giving here, it's science-based information based on what true science says, and that's what we try to provide you with, the facts. All right, have a good night.